bless you. Welcome to Growing in Grace, where we're here to grow in grace and knowledge of God and to help you in your walk with your family life and your marriage life and things that would just help you to grow closer to God. And so this is the Growing in Grace podcast, and we would like for you to like, share, subscribe, and let your family, friends, and loved ones know that this podcast is streaming now and that this is a podcast that can be beneficial to their walk. And so today we have a special couple here, the Robinson family, the Robinson couple, Deacon Paul Robinson and Sister Regina Robinson. And the topic today is we split, but God. And the thing that we would like for you to get out of this conversation is that while your marriage can go to maybe even some of the worst places, God can step in and bring hope and bring you into unity and bring you to a good place. And as I look at you today, as I look at you as a couple, y'all look like you're in a good place. You look like you're in a good place. But now, and sometimes what people do is they'll see a couple where they are today and think they've always been there, and think that, well, my marriage is this and my marriage is that and it's in this bad place, and think that there's no hope and it's just going to be that way from now on, and like there's no hope for the marriage. And you're in a good place today. You're right, Deke?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Y'all look happy. Y'all really happy.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to let you begin to tell your story and the part of the journey that you would like to share with us. You know, you don't have to tell everything. You're not going to tell everything, and that's fine. But tell us some of the highlights and things that will help people to know. You went to a bad place. You split, but God came in and turned that thing in a different direction, and now you're happily married. Okay. All right. Which one would you like to start first? Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, we split, and I was kind of young in my walk. I took a lot of the word for granted from our former bishop, W.F. Lucas. We both made decisions and choices that caused us to kind of drift away from each other in the course of the early stages of marriage. We were separated 10 years, 11, yeah, around 10 or 11 years. I didn't trust the Lord. I didn't have confidence in a lot of different people that I once thought I had confidence in. I just didn't trust God. I was young. I was afraid to trust Him. I had children. It was just a lot of different things going on in our relationship at that time in our life. And I went and found comfort in an individual rather than God and the Word. So I married someone else. I actually divorced my husband. I married someone else. We were married 6 years before something within my heart just kept pulling me back. I heard Mother Dean in the back of my mind, Mother Adams, Bishop Lucas, Bishop Lawson. It was just something always tugging at my heart. Like, you're not where you need to be. And I was in so deep that I just felt like how I have messed up and I've been so disobedient. I don't even know where to start to get back. So I started doing my part. And for the word that I did know, I said, I'm going to start doing what I do know to do right. And I said, I know it's going to be a hard journey because at this point, we had a house, we had cars, we had bank accounts together. We had everything that I should have had the first go round, you know. I just started doing away with all the wrong. one thing at a time, day by day. And I said, Lord, if you let me get back in my rightful place, if you show me the way, I'm gonna do what I need to do. Um, and he did. He showed me. He opened doors that where I couldn't see no way out of that marriage. I mean, it was not a peaceful divorce, so to speak, because the other individual didn't want to let go
Yes.
of things as easily as I did. And I just had to find my way back to the Lord. I had a lot of positive people in my corner, which I didn't think that I would have, considering I had been away so long. But the love of, my brother-in-laws and different saints, it kind of, that love drew me back to the place I know I needed to be. And over time, it took, this was some years, not months.
Yes. Yes.
This took a few years.
So you had to be persistent in your pursuit.
I did, because my heart kept pulling me back to where it just kept drawing me back to God. I started listening to Ella Robinson. I started listening to Bishop Jeffries. Sometimes I would cut it off.
It was a little
I'm
tough.
like,
It was a
yeah.
little tough to hear.
I'm like, man, they don't know what I'm going through. They ain't the one in this situation. They don't know what it's like.
Yeah. A tough pill to swallow. Yeah.
A horse pill, so to speak. So, and I had to forgive. It was just a lot of different things that I didn't see possible that God made possible. I know it was nothing but God. It had to be God.
Yes, yes. One of the things I like, and we're gonna come to, but one of the things I like to kind of pull out of what you already said is, it seems like you weren't just aiming to get back to your husband. First, it's like you looked like you was trying to get back to God, and that's what I see wrong with some people in their marriage pursuit. They're trying to get to each other, and God is not like the focal point. And I just like to say this early on: when you're doing that, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, God should be number one. Period. Period. And sometimes the reason why things go astray is because God is not number one. And if you want that marriage to be what it's supposed to be, God's got to come to the top number one spot. And so it seems like you were aiming at God.
I was.
You were not aiming at Brother Paul.
No.
You was aiming at God,
Right.
and that's good.
As broken as it was, I knew nobody could fix it but God. Because I had at that point, even at that point, I had no forgiveness for him. And I knew in my heart, only God could give me that forgiveness towards him. But I had to come to him first.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes. That's good. That's
because
good.
I was just broken.
Yes, yes, yes. And so then you were seeking to be whole yourself,
Yeah.
to be whole yourself, and that's part of the situation. Whereas I even interject this at this point too, is how sometimes people get married and they're not whole. And so you're looking for that other person to complete you, and you're not a whole person. And the Bible really said two shall become one. And what it means, it should be actually two whole people that becomes one flesh. And sometimes people get married when they're not ready because they're not a whole person yet. All right, Brother Paul, what you got to say?
Well, what she has said, after we had split it and all that, our anger, and I really didn't have no forgiveness in my heart. And I was thinking I was away. I was thinking I wasn't coming back to Georgia. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't gonna come back to live in Georgia. So I was thinking I'm gonna go out, Detroit, California, somewhere, live with some of my kin people out there. And that was my plan. And I used to talk to Bishop Lawson. Bishop Lawson used to ask me, he said, Brother Paul, if God put you and your wife back together, would you go? And I would say, Bishop Lawson, how Mother Lawson doing? I would get out. I said,
You
how
try
the
to change the
church?
subject.
Yes, sir. I always try to change the subject. I said, how the church doing? You know, I ask them about it. And we'll talk. We'll talk about different things. And I call him again, you know, some months down the road. He asked me the same thing. I always got off the subject. But when I got ready to answer your question, Sister Patricia had sent me his obituary. And I said, oh, no. She had sent me. I said, I never did get to answer the question. I had got an answer. And I never forget, I was laying in the bed one night, and it came to me just clear. God said to me, it just was just clear, I'm going to forgive you for all that stuff, and you can't forgive. And I said, huh? And I thought thinking, I think that when I wrote Sister Regina a letter, asked her to forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I forgave her. And so on and so on. I wrote the letter. Then I know that we're going to come back home soon. Then when I came back home, when I got ready to come back home, they told me my dad was sick. They told me my dad was sick. And I started thinking. And I called Mother Robinson and asked her, I said, do you want me to come and help you take care of Dad? I will, I don't mind. And she said, yes, if you want to, you can do that. So that's what I did. But I left out, when I was gone, I started working on me, because I was the chaplain age. I started working with the chaplain office. I started doing different things. And I still had a lot of baggage. When I came home, I still had a lot of stuff I had to get rid of. And I never forget the first time I came to church, when I came back home, Vista Jeffries was preaching on being perfect. I said, Lord have mercy. And he was preaching on these men need to get a job. I was thinking in my mind, I just got home. You know, I was thinking
Like he was
in my
just
mind,
talking to you. It was just you and him
Yes,
in a
sir,
room,
man.
huh?
I just got home. Lord have mercy, what I'm gonna do? I said, I'm got to help take care of Dad. And he was just hammering on being perfect Dad. He was just hammering on it, and hammering on the man need to get a job and be about something like that. And I just kept on. I helped take care of Dad. Then one day my daughter called. My daughter called at my dad's house. And me and her were talking. We were talking, and she said, Dad, do you want to talk to Mama? I said, no, I don't know. She said, talk to Mama or something like that. I said, okay, put her on the phone. So we talked. I don't know what the conversation went when we talked. And after we talked for a while, we met of Dad, how we talked again, and we just started, working on things, I guess, what you want to call it. We started working on things. And I know then, I had know when I was gone, I wanted to be a change. I know I didn't want it to be the same Paul that I was when I went in. I know that for a fact. There wasn't no doubt about it. So I had a lot of things I had started working on, but I just kept coming to church, even though Bishop was stepping on my feet, and I used to go with Alan Robinson. He was preaching on me, and I just kept coming because I want to be different. I want to be a different person.
And just for the sake of our audience, you say when you went in and versus when you came out, you had a little prison stint that
Yes,
you had
sir.
to serve.
Yes, sir.
And just for the clarity, that
Yes, sir.
that you went to prison for a little while and then you came home.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, go forward.
Then when I thought coming back to church, I just wanted to be changed. So I thought changing, and I know that I wasn't going back out there to hang with the people I was hanging with when I went in. That one thing I did not do. And I thought changing, but the Word of God was working on me. It was working on me. It worked. I never did think in my mind I wasn't coming back to church though. I always came back on a Sunday. Alan Robinson asked me to drive him. I always drove him down to Augusta. And I just stayed there. I stayed there, just kept working on me, and I told God, I want to be different. I want to be a different person. I don't want to be that same Paul. And I thought seeing, I thought changing. My mindset thought changing. I thought looking at things different. I started studying my Bible more. I started just wanting, and I talked to my brother about, hey, I want to be different. And he tell me the things I need to be doing and things. So I just was doing them things, just I didn't mess with the street none when I got back. I just stopped messing with them. I just couldn't because I know if I fool with the same crowd, I was gonna get the same result. I want them to see when I went back around them. I want them to see I was a different person. I wasn't the same Paul. I want them. So I just kept coming to church and kept doing the thing. So Regina went to Bishop, and that Bishop. When they made Anastasia, the elder down there, the pastor down there, Word of Life, she went to Bishop. At Bishop Group, she go down there. We moved down there. She came home and told me.
Wait a minute, you jumping? You know, went all the way to that.
Yes,
Well, the situation is, we can get to that.
Okay.
But I like to get back to, okay, you was working on you, and you was working on yourself, and you started talking to your wife, and she came over to your dad's house, and y'all started working on things.
Yes, sir.
See, now you done jumped all over the words of life. y'all done got back together. But now I wanted how you began to talk.
Yes.
How did you get back together? What happened to spark the thing and say, okay, let's decide to be one again? So where did that? Tell me a little bit about that part.
We started dating as if we were dating for the first time.
I see.
Because with him being gone so long and me being married to somebody else and trying to find out who I was, we started dating so that we could get to know each other again. Because over time, you change as an individual. 10 years is a long time. For him as well as me, I was a mother of 5 children. I had changed. I had matured in a lot of different areas to where the first 14 years of our marriage, I wasn't mature because I was learning everything and fumbling a lot. We started dating, and it was very bumpy because of the situation being what it was. I was trying to move out of a house that I had with somebody else and start from ground zero. I let everything materialistic go because to me, at that period, that's what was important to me, and it wasn't important anymore because my focus was on me and building my relationship back up with God. And I had reached a point where I had to move out of God's way. I had to just fix what I could fix within me, that he gave me the knowledge to say, hey, this is what you look like in the mirror, and let him fix the rest. I think that was the biggest problem the first time, is we wanted to fix everything. And it wasn't for us to fix because some things only God can fix. So we had to surrender and trust. If we did our part, he's going to do what he said he's going to do. We had to have the faith and put the work behind it to rebuild and become that one individual so that we can become that one.
Become whole so that you can come together.
Right.
Yes.
And it took about 5 years for us to do that.
Oh, so y'all dated for 5 years.
Yes, we dated for about 5 years. We went to Pastor Stacy when he first became the pastor. We counseled.
Yes.
Then when it kind of got a little more serious, we went to Bishop Jeffries. And when he said, he kind of let us talk and didn't say a whole lot. But when he got through, he said, I think y'all going to be okay. That was my confirmation that God was going to restore what we allowed the devil to take from us because of our disobedience. So
5 years later, 5 years later, y'all courted for 5 years after being married for 14 and being separated for 10. Then you courted for 5 before you reunited. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. But God.
But
I
God.
tell you, you have a
But
very
God.
unique story and a very unique journey. And here's the thing I see in your journey is hope. You know, there are some people who have not experienced half of what you have experienced, and they feel like they don't have any hope. And I would say that your marriage is a testament to what God can do. It's not what you did or
Right.
what Regina did or what Paul did. It's what God did. You just really have to give the glory to God. And when we give glory to God, then He has more opportunity to work and to do something in our lives. So tell me a little bit. So 5 years later, five years later.
I want to start out when we went and talked to Bishop.
Yeah, come on.
I had talked Regina and the Bishop, because, I want Bishop, because I know Bishop was a spiritual man. He can discern what he can tell us something. And we went to Bishop, we met him right here at the church, and we talked to Bishop. Bishop, he talked to her. He said, I'm going to tell you what, I think y'all can make it, but keep people's out your business. That's the first, that's what he told her. He said, keep people's out your business, and I believe y'all can make it. So after that, we did that, and a lot of times when me and Regina get together, we dated. I never brought up that you've been married before. I never brought up you left me. I never brought up you divorced me, because when I was in prison, I had that in the bed that night. I don't know what happened. I never brought that up, and I forgave. I know I did. I never to this day, she can tell you, I never to this day said nothing about that. It don't. If the devil even got to bring it up in me, I said I forgave. I have nothing to do with that. And a lot of times, I know we have to get out the way ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't fix nothing. Like we used to try. We can't fix nothing. So what we did, I started working on me, and she started working on her. We went to spiritual counsel. We went to Pastor Board. Then we went to a natural counsel. Somebody not. And we counseled both ways, and it was a help. It was a help. Because we can say, some things here. Then we come back to a spiritual counsel. We get some things here, so we can weigh them out.
And hold your thought. I am support of both. I'm in support of both, but not one or the other.
Right.
I just want to interject that point there to say that if a person gets the natural counseling, I also believe that they need the spiritual counseling.
Yes, sir.
And a balance between the two is going to be very helpful.
Yes, sir.
And whereas I can see how sometimes you can do spiritual and not necessarily go to natural, but if you're going to do natural, you need to do spiritual.
Yes.
That would be my advice.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason we done natural like that, I was going to counseling anyway when I got out.
Yes.
Because I had to go to counseling anyway. Because when you go on like that, you need counseling. What I did, I can't speak for no one else. So I had to go to counseling and talk about some things. So, we went on and counseled like that with that. But after all that, we finally got back together. We got the house. My brother had kept the house for us.
So you had another marriage?
Sir?
Y'all got married?
Yes, so I'm finna get to that.
Okay.
My brother had kept the house, so we moved back in the house.
Oh.
And we got married. Al Robinson married us downstairs in the house.
Okay.
We got married.
Because I don't remember no invitation.
We got married.
You didn't invite me. Y'all ain't told me nothing.
You were still in Chattanooga at that
Oh,
time.
okay. Okay. But it's okay.
Yes,
It's
we didn't
okay.
give you no invitation. We were just glad to get back together.
Yeah.
And after we got back together, it still was. It wasn't easy. It was rough. It wasn't easy. But we kept going. The pastor Stacy, Pastor Stacy told me some stuff. He told me some rough stuff about me. He told me some rough, because I never went to him and said, well, Regina did Regina. I never did that. I was trying to work on me.
Yeah.
And he told me some things I need to do. It was rough. And I took it. What he said, because I'm like this. If I'm going to come to a pastor, if I'm going to ask him a question, and he going to give me some spiritual advice, what to do, I'm going to do it. Because if I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to ask him. I don't need to ask him. I'm not going to do it. That's wasting his time. And everything I like to say this, if you don't mind. Everything Bishop had asked me to do or told me to do, I did it. It worked out. Alice Stacy told me to do this about marriage and about some more things I was going through. It worked out. It ain't nothing that told me to do didn't work out, because I did it. It worked out. And that's reason I say, if I'm asked the man of God something, he tell me what to do, you need to do it this, I'm going to do it. And it worked out. And we got back together. We got remarried. We had some rough times. We had some, rough times. Because we had, but God. But God, he worked out. It worked out.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And so you come back together and begin to walk together in the church and
Yes.
live a godly life, and he began to restore you.
Yes, sir.
He began to restore you, and you, Bishop Jeffries was preaching on you about no job, not taking care of your home and your family. You got to be about something, do something with yourself, and you started walking in that.
Yes, sir.
So God bless you with a job.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that. How God began to bless you to be a provider for your home. And in fact, and then you can, talk about how you began to have confidence in your husband. Whereas in time past, you didn't have that. So speak a little bit about that.
Well, when I got a first job over here in Scottsdale at a paint company. My first job, it was in the paint company. I got a job. I worked there for about a year. But they sold the company. I was the first one they got rid of. After they sold the company, they gave me a little money, and they gave me unemployment. Then I started looking for other jobs. I just started working little jobs around. I just thought what I can work, I work, temp jobs. I just started working temp job. And one day I seen the temp job. I said, I'm going to put in for this job. And I came to Bishop. I said, Bishop, it's this job I want, and I'm going to put in for it. I said, but they ain't paying that much. I told them what they were paying. They were paying $11 an hour. He said, I tell you what, Brother Paul. He said, you go on that job. That's what Bishop Jeffries told me. He said, you go on that job, you learn everything you can learn. Everything you can learn, you do everything they ask you to do. And you be a good steward. You just be a good man on the job. And God will bless you. And I did just that, what he asked me to do on that job. Now I've been on that job for 8 years. I'm a manager at that job. I've been a manager at that job for about 5 years. And they pay me way, 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 way more than $11 an hour. God bless me. Bless me like that. And God he just blessed me on that job. I did what Bishop said again, and I just started moving out. I was a laborer. That's what I started out at the job was. Then I was a lead man. Then I was a manager. I went up from a labor lead man, then a manager. And God he just blessed me.
Yeah.
He blessed me, yes, sir.
Yeah. And what changed in you to start wanting to respect and honor, your husband as the head and the leader of your home? What sparked that for you to begin to look at him that way?
The life he lived and not the words he said. it took a while for me to trust him again. It took a while for me to have confidence and want to reverence him. I knew it was right, and that was one of those horse pills to swallow, because it was an instance where we was counseling with Pastor Stacy, and I think he got on me during one of those sessions, and I think something in me changed to where I seen myself. And it's the way I was talking to my husband. And he stopped me and he's like, wait a minute. He said, don't you ever like talk to your husband like that, because you talking down to him and that will tear your home up, not build it up. And I could feel my ears getting red, and I was like, I am so embarrassed. Like, I just kind of like shut down and didn't say anything else for the rest of that counseling session. But it made me realize who I was and who I didn't want to be anymore. And that kind of clicked, and I said, you know what? Just watch what he do. See if he obeys, and you continue to do what you need to do to please God. And if you please God, you will ultimately please him. And I just started taking in the word and just start pulling off things. And it was even an instance where I would get up and I started cooking and just doing stuff that I knew was right to do to reverence him. And he's like, is it safe to eat your food? You know, like, this is like, wait a minute.
Hello, okay. What's going
Because
on?
from where we have been,
Is that one of
you know, he seen a change, and I started seeing the response, and I'm like, I'm going to just watch and see. His obedience in the gospel is what made me build that confidence back in him, as well as that trust. And it made me love him, like really love who he was and not what he was doing for me. You know, like, this is who he's becoming, the person, the man of God that I always felt in my heart. I knew it was there. I knew it was a diamond somewhere up under that coal, but I just used to be so angry because he wouldn't walk in it. And I always seen that. That's what attracted me, one of the things that attracted me to him, you know, but I started trusting him. The more he obeyed God, the more I wanted to obey him because I seen the God in him. And that's what initially drew me back in the first place, was I wanted to love God like he loves me. Just no boundaries, just unconditional love. To die for me with all the filth I had in my life, that's the kind of love that I want to reverence my husband. And it took me to get God's spirit in order to be able to do that.
Right.
So I know it's possible, but I had to surrender myself.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people don't recognize is that sometimes even in a home and a marriage, you could be looking at the other person, but that guy in the mirror, that woman in the mirror, that person in the mirror,
Jesus.
you don't look at that person. You just and here's the thing about it is, you can be right about the other person. You know what I'm saying? Like, that person actually can be doing wrong or mistreating you, and all that can be true. I'm not trying to diminish that. That all that can be true. But sometimes you got to acknowledge your part. And that's what sometimes people don't want to do. They don't want to look at themselves.
Nope.
Sometimes you can have a cause and effect. And you can have a situation where the other person is doing wrong and there's no excuse for that. However, you can be doing something that could actually be driving that person in a certain direction as well. And here's another thing that can happen. And y'all can help me and you can testify if this happened in your home. You can change yourself. Change your behavior toward your spouse. Don't worry about what your spouse is doing. You just change your behavior towards your spouse. Not waiting on them to change first. You change and treat them in a better way than you may feel like they're treating you. You may feel like they're not treating you, but you just treat them the way that you feel like you're supposed to in spite of how they're treating you. And it'll change things. Am I right about that?
Amen.
Exactly right.
Sometimes one person has to be first in the
Yes.
change. And sometimes what people are doing, they're waiting. Stand back. Wait. Yeah, when they do
Yeah.
this, then I'm gonna treat them just like but they gotta do this first. And you're messing up.
Yes.
Don't make it a condition. You just go ahead and do what you're supposed to do in spite of how they're treating you. And I just share this. And my wife and I, we were having a little situation. We was having a situation early. And my wife was treating me a certain way, and I didn't like it. And it was real. But then I saw myself, and I said, you need to change. Me. I changed. The whole marriage changed. The whole marriage changed. And a lot of times, I'm just saying again, we would demand the other person change first, and then we gonna change. Anyway.
That's one thing Pastor Stacy has said, work on yourself. Don't worry about the other person. Work on yourself. So you can't fix. I can't fix Sister Regina.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. I've been knowing all these. I can't fix it. It take God to
But
fix
God,
it.
you know.
It take God, and it took God to fix me.
Yeah.
Sister Regina couldn't fix me. Well, I'm gonna fix you into who I want you to
I
be. She
tried.
can't do that. We've been through that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to just let go and let God. So God will do it. He'll do his job. You do what I know for a fact. If you do what you're supposed to do, God gonna do what He gonna do.
Yes.
Yes.
God truly He'll promise.
He's faithful.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you just got to do. A lot of times we ain't doing what we supposed to do. We expect God to do what He's supposed to do. See. Yes.
And sometimes what God is going to do is contingent upon what you do.
Yes.
You know, He's got a blessing waiting on you,
Yes,
but
sir.
the Bible says He won't withhold no good thing back from them that walk uprightly. So now we ain't walking upright. We expect for all the good just to keep flowing, and we ain't walking uprightly. But Psalms 84:11 said, "Walk uprightly, and He won't withhold good things back from you." See,
sir.
so some of it is contingent upon what we do.
Yes.
So y'all begin to, you begin to love your wife, you begin to reverence your husband, and in the process of time, God has blessed your union, in so much that your pastor says, you know what, I think Brother Paul should be Deacon Paul, which is a testament not only to the life that God transformed you into, but it's also a testament of what He's transformed you into. Because in looking at making a man, ordaining him to the office of a deacon, you also have to look at the quality of the wife he has. You know, is she grave? You know, is she slanderous, or these different things that would cause the man to be out of qualification. You know, so he has to look. The pastor has to look at the man and the wife to see if that's a team that could be put into that office. The man is put in that office, but the wife has to be of a certain caliber as well. So God brought you to that.
Yes,
God
He
brought you
did.
to that. So today we don't call you just Brother Paul. We can call you Brother Paul too. But we also have the privilege of calling you Deacon Paul. And so can you tell me a little bit about how God brought you to that position? How He brought you to that?
Well,
From prison to Deacon Paul.
when I started, I used to go. I go with Allen Robinson at least 2 Sundays a month or 3. I used to go with him 3 Sundays a month.
Yes.
3 Sundays. I used to go with him. I think the second, the third, and the fourth Sunday. So Deacon Kenny told me something one Sunday. I walked into church. He said, "Brother Paul," I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm gonna start having you to do some work in case one day they might want to make you something. I don't know, but I'm gonna start showing you do some work, how to lead devotion serve, how to take up my, just do things. I said, yes, sir. He said, I said, I'm willing to do whatever you ask me to do, Deacon. I got respect. And all the deacon down there, they just start working with me and working with me and working with me. And Anastasia said, one day I might make you a deacon. I said, me? I said, me? He said, yeah, one day I might make you a deacon. And I just kept working and kept doing what I was supposed to do, faithful, coming to church, doing the thing I know to do right, everything I know to do right. I just kept doing that. And he told me, fifth Sunday, last fifth Sunday, we're going to make you a deacon. And he's already...
during this, was it during this? No, it was during this.
Doing one of them services.
Yeah.
And he's already going to call certain people and talk to them about you and your wife, already talk to people about you. He said, I didn't get no bad report or nothing. He said, so... And it kind of shocked me because I never thought about being no deacon, you know. I just want to be saved. That's what I want to be, saved and have God working within me. Because I know if I'm saved, I can make it.
Yes, yes.
I mean, titles don't, you know, people want titles, that don't. I want to be saved. That's the main thing. So you can have a title and don't be saved.
That's true.
Yes,
100%.
sir. I'd rather be Brother Paul and be saved and go back with the Lord. But he made me a deacon, and I'm going to do all I can. And I'm still learning.
Yes.
I'm still learning.
Yes.
And God just good.
Yes, yes.
God is good. I tell anybody, God is good.
Yes.
When you start obeying the word, when you start obeying the word, see, when I first got out, I was just coming to church.
Yes.
But then I started obeying the word.
Yes.
Letting the word work with me.
Yes.
And once I started obeying the word, pulling off and putting on God, pulling off Paul and putting on God, I seen a change. I seen blessing. I gonna say blessing upon blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, blessing upon blessing. And it's a blessing to have my wife back. You know, a lot of people say you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't have done that, but you ain't living my life.
Right.
And Bishop Jeffries said, keep folks out your business. So you ain't me. This ain't your business. Just stop being a busybody now.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me live my life.
Yeah.
You doing yours now. Let God work with me.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy for where we've been and where we come from. I'm happy because we can help someone else.
Yes.
We can tell people it is hope.
Yes.
No matter what situation you're in. At one time, I thought my life was over.
Yes.
I really did. I thought it was just over with. Lost my wife, in prison, my kid, didn't have no relationship with my kid. I just said my life over. That's when I always thought about not coming back to Georgia. But God.
Yes.
But God.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you came to the place where the fire was. And it was burning too.
Burned a lot.
And I want to say this. People run from the fire. And what I mean by that, the refining fire, the fire of the preaching of the gospel and the word that will correct and cut you and open you up and perform an operation on you, make you feel uncomfortable, put you back together and make you whole again. They run from that. But naturally, people don't do that. No. When they find out they got cancer, they go to an oncologist and he said, we need to open you up. And we need to take this thing out of you. What do you mean? We're going to cut you. We're going to open you up. You're going to be sore. You're going to hurt. You understand what I'm saying? People would do that naturally to be healed. But spiritually, they'll run from a preacher that corrects them.
Yeah.
They'll run from that. I don't like that. What you talking about? This is for your good. This is for your benefit. This is for your health of your soul. For your soul salvation. And what you both did, was you stayed under the fire and you stayed under the knife and you let the operation take place. And God has cut you, opened you up, took out that thing that didn't belong, put the right thing, closed you up, sealed you up. And isn't that a wonderful thing?
It is. Thank
That's
you,
a
Jesus.
wonderful thing. Now, to have this operation, one of the key components is faith and obedience.
Yes, sir.
Faith and obedience. I would say this about the gospel. I say this about the gospel. The gospel is absolutely nothing to a person unless they obey it.
That's true.
Back to the analogy of the doctor, the oncologist. Sometimes the oncologist is a very, very excellent oncologist, cancer doctor. And what they prescribe can bring you to a place where you have remission from cancer. No more cancer. However, the best oncologist who can actually help you with your condition cannot help you if you don't do what he said.
Right.
You take the best one. Well, the gospel don't work. Well, that's not true. The gospel actually does work. Are you obeying the gospel?
Right.
That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question.
That's true.
See, because so out of every plan, you can have the best financial plan on paper, best financial plan. If you don't work the plan is no good to you. You might as well ball the paper up, and throw it away. It's a great plan, but if you're not working it and going by it, it doesn't benefit you. The gospel is the exact same way. It is a blessing. It is a benefit. It'll change you. And it'll make you everything you ought to be. But obedience has to be a component to that. Faith, believing in it, and then actually doing it.
Yes, sir.
And you're a testament to that.
Yes.
You split, but God, and you obeyed God.
Yes.
And now you're together.
Yes.
And two shall be one flesh. And through all your trials and tribulations, this is the best union you've ever had. Through all of that stuff and coming through all that journey, now you're at a place of peace, and you have peace in your home. Now, don't let me put stuff in your home that ain't there now.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
Yes.
Okay, peace in your home, right? Joy in your home.
Yes, sir.
You got laughter.
Yes.
sir.
Oh, don't just see contentment.
Yes. Yes.
Except for the shoes, right? You might can stand another pair or so, right? But you're happy with one another.
Yes.
And I say, praise God. Praise God. Closing remarks.
But now, we happy with one another. But we still have problems, but we know how to go through our problem. We know what to do.
Yes, yes.
We know what I know when to be quiet.
Yes.
She know when to sometimes push back, and I know when to bring the subject back up. If we in a heated situation, I might just okay, we'll talk about it another day.
Yeah.
Then the next time I come back up, and it's good. All this come through the Word of God.
Yes.
All of it do. Know how to. You have to know when it. I'm not the boss of my home. I'm not the boss of my home. I'm the head of my home, and I head it like I do it like the Bible said do it. I'm not the boss over Regina because she's a grown lady, and she got the answer to God, not to Paul. And that one thing I noticed, and once I started doing all this, it just made it better. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, God gonna get you. I ain't got to do nothing. God can get you way worse than I can fuss at you. So I don't have to do all that. And we do have peace in the home. We have joy.
Yeah.
We have, and I try to give her some of the things she wants. I try my best to give her some of the things she wants. And God has really blessed us with material, but mostly God with the spiritual things, the peace, the joy, the contentment. That's the most important thing right there. Because I tell you, if you work, you're going to get some of these natural things. But you got to, like you said, you got to have faith and you got to obey to get these spiritual things.
Yeah.
Yes,
here,
sir.
here come the peace and the
Yes,
joy.
sir. Yes,
And then
sir.
you just don't, you can't, make all the money you want to make, but you can't go to Walmart and Costco and Sam's Club and get you a box and a bag of peace and enjoy. You don't buy, it don't come that way. No,
sir.
It don't come that way. All right.
I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful for just so many things. I'm thankful for the like you say, the joy, the peace. I mean, we actually laugh about things that used to make us cry and used to make us want to get away from each other. And it's like we look back now sometimes, 1 o'clock in the morning, we'll be talking and cracking up laughing like we were so stupid. Like, I mean, we've been it's been 35 years,
Yeah.
you know, and we're able to do that through the grace of God.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm just so thankful. I love my husband,
Yes.
and I love the Lord more.
Yes. Yes.
And with those two, I'm going to see him in peace.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm
yes.
just thankful.
That's wonderful.
I love you too.
All right. Oh my goodness, we gotta get out of here. Just love to come in the room. And God is so good. They
Yes, he
split, but God. And let me
Yes.
tell you, God can do it. He
Yes.
can do it for you. He
Yes.
can do it for you. If you haven't split and you're at a point where you're at a breaking point, God can He can turn that thing around. But you got to look to God and stop just looking at each other and focusing on each other. Put your attention on God. And this couple have given us a great illustration of how they began to focus on their relationship with God personally, and God made them whole so they can come together to be one. And God can do it for you, but it is about you and God, and you've got to surrender to God, obey God, have faith and confidence in Him, and He can bring it to pass. If you've already split and your husband and wife, you're in two different places, and God can bring you back together, or God can fix it where you are saved, which is the ultimate goal, because everybody's not going to get back together. We're going to be 100% with you. We're going to keep it real with you. Everybody's not going to have your testimony. Some people can. Others may have a different testimony, because I believe that God can keep a man or a woman even if they had to be single.
Yes, sir.
Even if they had to present their bodies to God as a living sacrifice, God can allow that as well. Ultimately, God allows for salvation, and He wants all of us saved. And so we appreciate the conversation today. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here with us, our audience. And we'd like for you to come back again for another Growing in Grace podcast. We'd like for you to like, share, and subscribe to the Growing in Grace podcast. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Until next time, come on back.